Hi, since we've finally launched or we've launched the Center for Watershed Sciences ArcGIS server, I thought now would be a good time to show off what we've put up as our default map viewer and give you a little tour of the capabilities that exist for that. You can see here when you go to the map viewer, which is at cstars.github.io series maps, you get a blank map viewer that has no data in it. Now we can look, and now that we have the Center for Watershed Sciences ArcGIS Service Atlas up, you can see that if you go to this particular website, you can go in and see that we've started to populate this with some data. And just by going through their native interface, you can look at these individual layers one at a time and see what's available through there. Both as raster data like that camel data, or here a vector layer, which shows the detailed analysis units for Department of Water Resources. So what we want to do is show these kind of services that exist using our default client here. When you go there at first, as I said, there's no data in there. You can click on that main menu and go ahead and change the base map to any number of ones that exist in there. I think there's about 10 there. We can pick kind of a light gray canvas here, which is good. And then you can go into the menu and you can do add layer. And when you type add layer, you're sent to ask for a URL for a particular ArcGIS service. So ours is atlas.cws.ucdavis.edu. And when you go there, then you actually get something that looks very similar to the data that you have directly through the interface, but you have the ability to search it. And when you click this, you get, if we had a complete description, you get that information, and then you actually get a little preview. And then by adding that to the layer, you see it will come up here on the right-hand side, and you'll be able to, you see all the legend. You can turn the legend off and on with this button. You can adjust the opacity by looking at the additional features here, so we can lower that opacity way down. And then you can also determine whether or not you're actually viewing it with the little arrow icon. Now what's different between this or one of the things that's different between this and that very generic ArcGIS server one is that you can add any number of layers to this. So we can go back to that server and this time pick that detailed analysis unit. We'll bring that opacity down to about 40% and add that into the system as well. And so now you can see that those exist as well, and you have that ability there with a small legend as well. You're not limited to looking at the data that exists just on our website. So ArcGIS has a number of services as well under their services at arcgis.com. So using the same client, you can just add a layer, type that in as your particular server you're interested in, pick a particular value from that. The same thing, you get a preview for that, and then you can actually add that in, and then as you zoom, you can zoom into those features. You can turn the camel off and actually start to look at those individual things, again with its legend. This isn't limited just to those two. Any public service that you can find works the same way. So here's the GIS layer from the Department of Water Resources groundwater system. And if you were to look at some of the information in terms of the network that's looking at this, this is obviously something normal people wouldn't do, but you can actually see in here that the data calls are all to ArcGIS services. And you can track down that and find that all of that data is available through a single ArcGIS server at gis.water.ca.gov. So in a similar manner, as you can do with the other ones, you can just copy that particular interface, add a layer, search for that. Oops. Somehow. And then click on one of these maps. Now, when they're quite complex, in this case, the layers are all off at the same for this particular layer, then you might not get the best preview for that, but you can actually go ahead and add that in, and you'll get that boundaries map. And you can see that the legend that corresponds to that, and then actually also the symbology and the organization of that is actually very similar to what you get when you're looking at that particular data layer through the website at DWR. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off and turn this layer on, and just show that in addition to that, then you also have some identify queries so that you can actually query the individual data as well. So here we're doing a particular point query. We're going to enable that and close it, and now when you click on the map at any particular case, you actually can get all of the underlying data for that particular area. And if you instead change that to a bounding box query and pull in a larger area, then you get obviously a much greater number of analysis units that are pulled in. And you can actually from here do clip, zip, and ship, where you can click on one of these individual layers. Although I don't think it's working now, but once we get the proxy in place, then you'll be actually able to download that data as well. So that's just a quick introduction to some of the features that exist through our default viewer for ArcGIS services. Okay, thank you.